challenges that life will bring based upon your word and all that it contains. Lord, speak to us. We are ready to listen. Amen. Where are the sheep? Where are the angels? Where's the manger? I mean, there's not even a tree. I mean, you hear this gospel lesson and it seems so out of place, but it isn't. Although it's not what we normally expect to hear the first Sunday of Advent. I mean, Advent is that season when we're spending time preparing, getting ready for great celebration of Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Advent ought to be about all the things that we're used to, angels and trees and manger scenes and little sheep, and singing all the wonderful carols. Advent, you think, should be about all those things, and yet when you look at the lectionary, you get the reading through this first Sunday, you get this kind of strange sounding lesson for this year from the Gospel of Matthew. And yet it's that very reason that we gather. We come here in a sort of a strange day beginning of the season of Advent. We are challenged to look back and to look forward at the same time. We are challenged to hold our expectations in tension, the expectations that we have over what we are celebrating from the past and the expectations of what will yet be. Now, there are a lot of expectations that we carry around with us during the holiday season. I mean, when you're little, it's probably something like, I wonder what the guy in the red suit's going to bring me. I wonder what mom and dad bought. I wonder if grandma got my Christmas list. In my household, one of the things that was always an expectation was my parents would try to hide it and I would try and find it. That was just like the never-ending game. They would do their best and I would seeking nickel and missile would go to the house and climb the attic, search under the tree. And I got really good, about taking the tape off and getting at that. I think I was maybe 20 when I finally stopped. You'd like to know. I like to know. But you have these expectations around the holiday and the season that kind of are ones that grow out of those childhood memories and things that we had hoped for at Christmas time. There's that expectation that Christmas will just be this time of excitement and joy and happiness, and we want to put the tree up as soon as Thanksgiving is over. Some even before. Some, their Halloween candy is barely eaten and they're already pulling the stuff out and starting to decorate the house and put the lights on outside. And that's okay. They're filled with expectation that Christmas is right around the corner. Well, when that first Advent, or I guess I should say before that first Advent or first coming of Jesus came, there were a lot of expectations too. The people of Israel were filled with a sense of expectation of the saying, when, O Lord? When? When is the King going to come? When is this Messiah who you have had prophesied to us going to come? When are you going to change things around? When are you going to kick out the Romans? When are you going to send that king that we've been waiting for? When are you going to send that Messiah that we're longing for? When, O Lord? And so the expectations were built up to a great level that they were expecting this mighty king who would come with the power of God on his side to change the world. And God sent someone, but not quite as expected. God sent someone in the form of a babe. God gave of his very self, and said, here I am. Here I am, entering into the world in an unexpected way. Not the way you thought, not the way that maybe you hoped for, not maybe the way that you planned, but here I am in this unexpected way, as a little baby born in a manger, surrounded by sheep and donkeys and mom and dad, and some shepherds, and maybe eventually a king or two. Here I am in this unexpected way. And all the expectations that they had about what the first Advent would bring are somewhat dashed. It wasn't a mighty king, it wasn't a great warrior, it wasn't a prophet filled with the power of God, but a little baby who came to speak a message of hope and possibility, and forgiveness, and love. Flash forward to the day when that Matthew writes about, and that child has grown up. That child has become Jesus. That child has been traveling around for about 3 years preaching and teaching. That child has now become a man who knows he's at the end of his journey. Who knows that what lies before him is the cross. Who knows what lies and the promise of the resurrection by God. And so he preaches this sermon to his disciples and talk about that second advent. And he says, look, there's coming a time when I'm not going to be with you. There's coming a time when you're going to have to watch for me. There's coming a time where once again you're going to have to live in expectation of my return. We as people of faith are in that time now. We've been in that time since the moment Jesus left. All the New Testament is written with that understanding and the idea that somehow, someday, some way, God will return. That God will come to claim His church. That God will come to right all the wrongs and to make things new. And we live in that time waiting for that second advent. And we should live with a sense of expectancy in our heart. A sense of expectancy that says that just as God gave Jesus so long ago, whose birth we celebrate in this season, God will cause a second advent to occur, and He will return. Now think about it for a moment, the sense of our expectations that we have. We're looking expectantly for His return, but are we living in such a way that says we are expecting His return? Probably a lot of us plan holiday dinners. And there's that expectation, the grandma's coming, aunt and uncles are coming, the neighbors are coming, the children are coming home. And we spend a lot of time, probably, if it's like my house, running around doing all the things that, well, some of them are things you probably normally do, but then you do all the little extra things. You got to make the house ready. There can't be a cobweb anywhere. I mean, you got to make sure there's the right number of things, the right number of chairs. The house has to look pristine. All the stuff that you haven't dusted in the last 6 months finally gets pulled out and dusted. There's that sense of expectation that this is going to be a great day, a great celebration, that these people who are coming into our house, they're worthy of our best, and we do all that we can to make ready. We spend hours planning and preparing the meal. We bake the turkey until it's just right. We make real mashed potatoes and even leave a few lumps in it just so that they know. That's okay, we had Chinese for Thanksgiving this year, so. But that's a whole other story. And no, I didn't burn the turkey. We didn't even have a turkey, but that's a whole other story. But you do all the kinds of things. You make that special pie, that special cake, because you just want it to be prepared and ready, and you're filled with all this expectancy over this great and glorious event that's going to happen. Well, as people of faith, that's the way we should be living our lives all the time, because, yes, we celebrate and remember the first Advent and Christmas, but we should be living in anticipation with expectation of that second Advent that is yet to occur. And the question we have to struggle with, we have to ponder and think about is, are we really living with a sense of expectation that rises to the level of what it is we're waiting for? I mean, how different would we live if we said today, I am anticipating that in my lifetime, the Lord's going to come. Well, I don't know. Some of us might run with fear and trembling. Some of us might get on our knees right at that moment and say, God, not today. I'm not ready yet. Some of us might begin to realize maybe there are some things we need to re-examine and look at it, do a little different. Some of us might realize that there are relationships in our lives that we got to work on. We got to try and heal. We got to try and fix. We got to try and make better. Some of us might realize, what I've been doing for the last 10, 15 years, maybe that's not how I want to spend the next 10, 15 years waiting on the Lord. Maybe that security that I have in my job, maybe I feel I'm calling to do something different. Maybe the church. Yeah, I'm going to go get a sticker guy at Walmart next week. I made this sort of look. I'm not quite sure what that look meant. We'll have to talk about that. But it was anticipation or excitement. But anyway, sometimes it may mean, what changes do we need to make in our life? What changes do we need to make in the community of faith? I mean, imagine if the community of faith decided from here on out, we're going to live with the expectation that Jesus could come anytime. I wonder if our priorities would change as a community of faith. Do you think that maybe some of the stuff that we sometimes get upset about and bent out of shape about and worry about and struggle with, Would we worry so much? Would we struggle so much? Will we spend more time in prayer? Will we spend more time in fellowship? Will we spend more time coming together and worshiping and praising our God? See, that's the challenge, I think, in the midst of the Advent season. As we look to the past and celebrate what has happened, we have to remember that that's the beginning of the story, not the end. And we are waiting for the end yet to occur. And we need to live with a sense of expectancy over that Advent that is yet to occur. And find a way in our hearts and our lives and in this community of faith to live in such a way that says, I have faith and hope and trust that any time, my Lord, you come. And today I want to live. I want to live with that sense of urgency and purpose in my life. When you look at the life and ministry of the Apostle Paul, that was the driving force. That was the driving force. There was a love for God, there was a faith in God, and the driving force beyond all of it was soon, Lord, soon. Soon you'll come. Soon you'll be here. And so I have to act and live as if any day, any time, any hour. How different would our lives be? How different would our community be? Throughout the rest of this season, as you celebrate, as you rejoice, as you remember that first Advent, think upon the second one.